Herzlich willkommen zur nächsten Folge von The Inner Game. 52 Wochen, 52 Stories. Es geht direkt weiter. Heute habe ich einen internationalen Fußballer, der mittlerweile aber auch Fußballtrainer ist, auch die UEFA-Lizenz hat und ja, einfach einen spannenden Background hat, weil er Deutsch-Kanadier ist und wir damals bei der TuS Koblenz zusammengespielt haben. Es war eine ja, spannende Zeit auf jeden Fall. Ich hatte auch immer gerne mit ihm zu tun. Und war immer cool, mit ihm Zeit zu verbringen, mit ihm zu sprechen. Und ich glaube auch gerade so die Erfahrung aus einem anderen Land nach Deutschland zu kommen, auch die Sprachen noch nicht 100% zu beherrschen. Er hat auf jeden Fall einen geilen Akzent. Müssen wir mal schauen, ob wir das Ganze jetzt auf Englisch oder auf Deutsch machen. Ich lade den lieben Darius mal ein. Ich hoffe, dass er dazu kommt.
Mal schauen, ob es funktioniert. Er hat unter anderem auch bei Viktoria und Fortuna Köln gespielt. Also ist auch interessant, dass er für beide Clubs da im Kölner Raum gespielt hat. Ursprünglich kommt er aber oder hat bei Main gespielt, was ja dann auch relativ nah an Koblenz ist. Und in Koblenz haben wir dann eine gemeinsame Zeit gehabt. War auch immer ein Spieler, der ja immer auch mehr gemacht hat, eine coole Einstellung hatte und heute auch so seinen Weg geht. Ich bin mal gespannt. Ich habe auch jetzt länger nicht mit ihm gesprochen. Ich bin mal gespannt auch, was er jetzt in Kanada macht. Der Zeitunterschied ist übrigens 9 Stunden. Deshalb ja, wird es auf jeden Fall bei ihm jetzt morgens sein. So, jetzt die Einladung nochmal raus. Mal schauen, ob es funktioniert. Darius, hörst du mich? Also, ich habe die Einladung rausgeschickt. So, ich hoffe, es funktioniert jetzt.
Ja.
Jetzt klappt's. Da bist
Hallo
du.
Julius.
Hi, na, wie geht's?
Gut, und dir?
Auch gut, auch alles gut. Sollen wir es auf Englisch oder auf Deutsch machen? Das war jetzt noch die Frage.
Ähm, Sagen wir letzt erstmal auf Deutsch. Es gibt mir eine gute Gelegenheit, das zum Üben, glaube ich. Wenn irgendwas fehlt bei mir, dann sage ich das einfach auf Englisch und kannst du das kurz übersetzen für die Leute.
Ja, ja, überhaupt kein Problem. Ich glaube, wir sind auch viele, die generell Englisch sprechen und mittlerweile sollte das auch hier kein Problem mehr sein. Also
Perfekt.
ich verwende übrigens auch, so wenn ich mit Spielern spreche, generell, weil ich ja auch die 3 Jahre in Amerika war, ich verwende sehr, sehr viele englische Begriffe, weil irgendwie finde ich, manchmal hören die sich einfach besser an als deutsche Begriffe. Oder wie siehst du das, so der Unterschied zwischen der deutschen und englischen Sprache?
Ja, ich finde, es ist eine Mischung. Also ich finde, manche Wörter im Englisch sind noch besser, aber ich glaube, im Deutsch gibt es auch geile Begriffe, das im Englisch man nicht findet. So, für
Äh,
mich war das sehr interessant, zum
mh,
Beispiel diese bestimmte Begriffe in Deutschland zu lernen. Aber ja, hast du recht. Im Englisch gibt so ein coole Wörter für ein paar Dinge.
mh, also zum Beispiel Mindset, also
Mindset,
ich,
ja.
ich habe noch kein gutes Wort in Deutsch gefunden, was das Wort Mindset übersetzen könnte. Denkweise, aber das klingt schon wieder irgendwie so,
Ja,
ja,
Mentalität ist auch ein bisschen was anderes, ne?
ja, ja, genau. Ja. Deshalb, aber komm schon zurecht. Ich habe eben schon so ein bisschen was erzählt, dass du Deutsch-Kanadier bist, dass du ja auch dann in Deutschland so deinen Weg gegangen bist, wir zusammen bei TuS Koblenz gespielt haben. Aber vielleicht kannst du ja für die dich nicht kennen, mal so einen kleinen Einblick geben, ja, wo du herkamst und warum du dann auch nach Deutschland gekommen bist.
Okay, ja, danke Julius erstmal für die Einladung. Ja, wie Julius hat gesagt, wir haben zusammen miteinander beim TuS Koblenz gespielt. Vorher war ich in der Jugendbereich in Vancouver bei den Vancouver Whitecaps. Damals war die leider kein MLS Academy, das war so ein Stufe darunter, USL, ich glaube, das sagt
Mhm.
ein paar Leute was, United Soccer Leagues. Und dann nachher habe ich ein Stipendium bekommen, so wie du. Dann bin ich nach Amerika gegangen, nach Pennsylvania. Also das war schon ein Erlebnis. Das ist ein kleines Dorf in Pennsylvania zwischen Philadelphia und Pittsburgh. Und die University heißt St. Francis, so eine kleine Division
Okay.
One Uni. Und da wirklich habe ich viel gelernt, also wie man mit Zeitdruck umgeht. Also ich glaube, in Uni hat weniger zu tun mit das so Material in dem Studiengang und eher mehr so, wie du mit deiner Zeit umgehst, wie deine Priorität umsetzt, sowas. Oh ja, und nach meinen 4 Jahren, dann bin ich nach Deutschland gegangen, weil das war immer ein Traum für mich, in Deutschland zu spielen. Ich habe erst bei Landesligamannschaft gespielt, bei TuS Koblenz. Kennst du noch? Wir haben oft gegen deine Heimat gespielt. Und dann bin ich kurz nach Amerika gewechselt zum USL beim LA und da hat das leider nicht geklappt mit Vertrag und Bezahlung und so. War einfach schwer, Zeit im LA zu leben für wenig Geld. Das ist eine sehr teure Stadt. Und dann im 2014 dann kommt die Gelegenheit von Chippy, Gilbert Gorges, jetzt beim Bayer Leverkusen. Der hat mir ein Angebot gegeben als erstmal dritter Torwart in der zweiten Mannschaft und dann bin ich nach Koblenz gekommen, hochgearbeitet in die erste Mannschaft, mit dir gespielt. Geil. Und dann nach Koblenz war ich beim Viktoria Köln, Fortuna Köln und dann leider verletzt und dann kommt diese Covid-Pandemie dazu und dann war das 2 Jahre Pause und dann wieder in Vancouver. Und jetzt aktuell bin ich Fußballtrainer bei meiner alten Heimatverein und spiele aktuell für eine Semi-Pro-Mannschaft hier. Das ist in unserer dritten Liga, das ist so in unserer Regionalliga quasi. Und das ist jetzt, wo ich bin aktuell.
Geil. Ja, total spannend. Auch viele Punkte, wo wir nochmal drauf eingehen können. Mir fragt gerade jemand nach Subtitles.
Ja, genau. Sogar der RS, what's up RS, how are you doing, buddy? Ich habe sogar mit ihm, der kommt aus Amerika, der ist eigentlich jetzt Meister geworden in seiner USL 2 Abteilung. So, shout out to North Texas SC, or Texas United, sorry, not North Texas.
Nice. Ja, vielleicht müssen wir es doch auf Englisch machen.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah, because sometimes I get some messages from friends that I have in the States. Hey, you should do more content in English. I would like to see what you're doing. I would like to follow it. The good thing is, like when I'm doing posts, I think Instagram has a feature that auto translates like captions.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
This is pretty nice. So, but every time I do stories or like videos, they can't really see. So it might be a good idea to do it in English, to have the inner game talk for some English speaking.
For sure. Let's do it. We got the German out. Let's now speak some English.
You got the time to practice a little bit. It
exactly.
all works good. So we're
Perfect.
good to go. So I didn't know that you played in college, by the way. Like I'm somehow missing that. But what did you make to go to college? Like, why did you choose to go to college back in the days?
A few reasons. So I'm 33 now, born in 1989, and I'll say it like this: Canadian soccer, and especially in my province, British Columbia, there was a lot of good talent, a lot of great players, but there was no real outlet for professional football or semi-pro football. I really wanted to go to Germany at 18, but I had wasn't really there yet, so I thought university would be the next route. I had good grades. I was athletic enough. I knew I could get to a Division I school, and I knew once I got there, then I could start putting in all the work and getting to where I wanted to be. So it was really a decision of, okay, I can go get my education, get your backup plan in case an injury happens. And, a few years later, 10 years later, that an injury happened. So I was able to use my degree. And then secondly, I found university a good place, especially for a goalkeeper. I'm a goalkeeper. So it's like 18 to 22 is very important years in a personal development, right? Not just on field. So I felt that university helped me mature into more of a mature person. And then eventually when I moved to Germany, I felt like I had the right habits to be a professional.
Yeah, I can see that. And especially like my experience in college is, it's different than in Germany. And I think the focus on the development of the players is way higher than in Germany. Like in Germany, there's so many football players and it's basically, okay, you have to get the results. And the coaches, they are looking to get results too. So they're not really focusing on the development of every single player. So I think it was a really smart decision, because especially for goalkeepers, it might be tough to play here in Germany as a young keeper in a high division, because there are just so many good players. Yeah, really nice. And yeah.
No, I said no. I agree with you. It's tough. So if you go to the high division and you don't make it first, then then your name gets out, and then it'll be tough to come to another trial or a tryout. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and especially to get your education paid for. I mean, in the States, it's so expensive. Like when you want to study, so was a great chance. And actually, like when you came to Germany, I think since I'm working with the agency that got me to the States, I kind of talk to some players every now and then, also American players who are trying to become to Germany. And I mean, there are probably so many players who are trying to go here, but they don't make it. Like, how did you make it? What was your path to go to Germany? Like, how did you make it?
Yeah, it's I'll say it like this. I wish some injuries didn't happen and you can continue on this path, but that's part of football. But I will say I was given good opportunities in the beginning. And when I came to Germany, I knew right away, even though I had a German passport, that I came from North America. I have no history in this country. So I knew I had to start very low. Landesliga, 6th division. It's good quality, it. But, it's not in the top 4 professional divisions, regional league, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st league. So my suggestion to any person coming from university or coming from North America is, even if you have the quality to play in the higher professional divisions, there has to be an understanding that there's German kids here who will get looked at, and you need to come and beat their position. Like, you really need to beat their position. And sometimes this means you have to step back, drop down a few divisions so someone can notice you. And then eventually, like in my instance, TuS Koblenz had seen me play and said, "Hey, let's sign you to a professional contract." And then from there, I was able to go to other clubs, bigger clubs in Cologne. Unfortunately, I had some injuries, but because I started at a lower division, I was able to gain the experience of playing in a new country, learning the language, learning the players, how the referees act. There's a lot of little things we don't think about. You think you just show up and you play. So my suggestion to anyone who's living outside of Germany and wants to come here, do it. But understand it's going to be very hard just to start at the regional league level, because everyone wants to come and start at the Regionalliga. But regional league and higher, you're in the top 4% players of the country. So yeah, just come to Germany, do it. I suggest it, but understand you might have to start a bit lower.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest difference between American or North American football, where you played in Canada and in the US, and the football in Germany?
I would say, physically, I would say in Canada and US, players might be physically stronger. I don't want to say the European player is a weaker player, because it's nothing to do with European or North American. It just happens to be the type of sports we have here. So I think it's a bit of speed of play. You see it in the MLS, physicality. But one thing that's sometimes missing in the MLS is a bit of that football intelligence that I think European players have from pretty much a young age. Because even if you're not a Bundesliga academy prospect or from the 2nd division academies, if you're being taught football in Germany, you have a pretty good understanding and have pretty good intelligence. You have good technique. So I will say the player in Germany all around is better. Probably has better tools in general. But I would say the North American player has good athleticism, good physicality, and can be as good as a European player, as we've seen with some of the American and Canadian players that come over. I just think we don't have the culture fully yet that everyone coming out of our academies has this football standard.
I see. I think it's growing. In the last couple of years, there has been a great development, I think, in the States. I mean, I experienced it when I was there for 3 years, that it got more attention on TV, and more people were not just watching football, like soccer. That's how you say it. And that's a funny story, by the way. When I came over, I told everyone, yeah, I play football for NC State. And they were looking at me and they were like, no, you're not playing football, because they were thinking about American football. So I got used to say, okay, I play soccer, even though like it doesn't really feel right to say I play soccer. For me, it's football. But anyways, what do you think about like the mindset, like the mentality of the players in North America and Germany? Do you recognize the difference there?
I will say there's a lot of mental, like one thing in university that I saw was there was a really big emphasis on us to go see psychologists and deal with like mental training and stuff like that. I remember even having, we had to take a music class, and part of that we had to do visualization and breathing exercises.
Oh, wow.
And oddly enough, that became my routine, honestly, pre-game, because as I started seeing psychological coaches, psychologists, they said, visualize the opponent you're playing, the field you're on, the color, everything down to the little detail, and control your breathing. And even in game, when you feel nervous, you know, tap into where you're feeling it on your body, try to breathe it out, you know. So you're seeing that now creep into Germany and Europe quite a bit, the sports science, the sports psychology. You see it at a lot of the bigger clubs. I will say in America and Canada across the board, it's probably seen all over the place for the most part. So I think it's just a bit more visible in North America.
Yeah, I can see that. And that was my experience as well. I think at NC State, we had about 4 sports psychologists. And in my, like, how I saw it, like, it wasn't just recognized as something that you have to do if you have like an issue or a problem or are going through a difficult time. In the States, it was more like, hey, to train the mental side of the game is just another way to improve your performance, just as you do physical training and tactical and technical training, which I really enjoyed. That was like my first, I think, that's where I started to go into it more and more, when I realized, hey, it's just like another puzzle, like piece of a puzzle that you can put into a pro soccer player or pro football player. They need to handle their mind to play to get a better performance as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like
really,
mind
nice.
ties into the physical performance too.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that it's coming to Germany or to Europe in general more and more. And I think so, because I mean, since the differences are getting smaller and smaller, it kind of has to. Like physically, they are training on a really, really high level with a lot of sports science and so much data, and really high level, nutritional also, and on football as well. I think the mental side is just another area that's going to be more important in the next couple of years.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. So you said you also had difficult times, and I mean, being away from family, like how did all this experience kind of help you grow as a person, to go to a different country, different language, different culture? Like what did you learn during this process?
Yeah, good question, because as you mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have German roots, but I will say I really connected more with my German roots when I moved to Germany and started playing.
Okay.
So I had some family here, especially in Koblenz, where I was playing, my grandmother and my uncle. So in that sense, that kind of was a nice, you know, close to home feeling. So when I was going through maybe rough times in Koblenz, not playing well, I could always talk to my uncle. He used to play football or soccer, so he was able to, you know, talk me through things. I will say, for me, the more difficult situation was after I left Koblenz, and then I went to Oberliga team Euskirchen, and I broke my elbow really badly. And I was out for a whole year, and that was a really hard time in my life, because, you know, I was wasn't away from home, but I was away from football. I couldn't go to the games. It was hard for me to go watch games, you know, and then I got back into fitness, and then got injured again at Victoria Cologne. So I would say there was 2.5 years, like between 26 and 2018, which was probably the toughest test in my career. And it wasn't even on the soccer field. So it was a mental battle. Some good days, some bad days, but I'd like to say that over those times I learned about myself, how I react to situations, what my mentality is, if something's going bad, how can I take it into a positive situation? And I'll be honest, at those times, sometimes I didn't go work out. I didn't go do my rehab because I was sad. I'm not playing. Oh, my chance is gone. But quickly I realized that, this isn't the attitude that a player will have or need to come back from injury. So, yeah, I think once Corona hit, that's kind of was at the peak of this tough mental period in my time. And I was able to do some coaching, go back and do a mental coaching and stuff, and kind of help me piece together, injuries that happened, moments in career that were good, moments in your career that were bad, because now that I'm back in Canada, you have time to look back and reflect. So I would say for me, the biggest challenge in my career has just been the mental side of things after, leaving Germany or getting injured. And I think that's for most players, is when things aren't going the way you want it to, that's how you react, and that shows your true character, I think.
Yeah, so true. And I think there's so much wisdom in those experiences to look back and then just see, hey, what I learned during this period, or how do I develop as a person. And I mean, I think we all have those times where we didn't really feel good. We went to some challenges, and eventually we said, hey, it kind of shaped me into the person I am today. And it must be tough, like, to be so far away from home. I mean, you still had some family here, but I mean, it's just different. I mean, I'm injured right now as well, and just not being with the team is kind of like you got separated a little bit. You kind of don't feel like you are part of this team because you don't get the jokes when you are not in practice all the time. And there's so much that goes into that. And probably a really good experience in the end.
Now I'm 33. I have a bit of wisdom on me, and I think to myself, you know how to treat yourself, you know how to react. But it's sometimes you wish you know those things when you were younger. I look back, I wish I did it like this. Maybe I would be where I want to be in football. But life, as without sounding cliche, it goes the way it needs to go in a way, and you got to kind of, like you said, deal with it and have the tools necessary to deal with it.
That's actually an interesting point. Like, what's one thing that you wish you knew earlier? Like, maybe you wish before you went to Germany, about yourself, about life, that could have helped you?
I honestly, just for me was just don't think it's so bad. Like, my mind is the first thing, is like, because like, especially when I got injured after I left Koblenz, the injuries were long term, but it was definitely doable. Some of the doctors said, oh, you'll never be able to play soccer again with your elbow. So maybe that got in my head a bit. So I just would want to tell the younger Darius, just, stay the path, be consistent, the ups and downs are part of it. Because I think when the downs happened, I was a bit surprised because everything was going up for a while. So I would just, for younger Darius, just say, expect the downs and just, battle through it. It's all part of it. Everyone has done or gone through something like that.
Part of the game. That's so true. So really good point. And then after COVID, you went back home to Canada, and you started coaching. That's what you said, or what are you up to right now?
Exactly. I moved back about 2 years ago, and I started coaching just on the side. But coaching here wasn't really, there isn't so many setups that are just really professional and stuff. So I'm doing a lot of under 13 youth level, because I find it challenging in a good way, because these young children, it's a different type of communication, with guys that are 15, 16 or men I can deal with. I can talk to them. So that was one challenge I wanted to take on myself. And then oddly enough, I started working with EA Sports. So that's been a really interesting experience, because you know, my heart is in football, you know, so I'm happy I can coach and play on the side. But, you know, I have a day job that, you know, I get to help produce one of the big football games in the world. So when I
That's so
first came
nice.
back, I will say I was pretty down. You know, I left Germany. I was sad to leave Fortuna Köln because I just made it into the first team again. And then, you know, I broke my fingers, and then Corona happened. And then, you know,
Oh, shoot, yeah.
the mentality started to go again. But from what I learned, I said, okay, I have a coaching license. I can do that. I can play. Let's see what opportunities I can find for myself. So I will say coming back after Corona was hard, but I think those tough experiences that I had in Germany allowed me to come here and have an attack plan and go for what I wanted to. And, you know, 2 years on, I have my UEFA B license. I have my Canadian C license. I'll be getting the Canadian B. You know, I work with a great company, and I'm continuing to coach and play and improve myself as a coach. And so, yeah, lessons learned, and I was able to apply them. And for a lot of
Yeah,
people,
sounds good.
COVID wasn't such a good moment, but for me, it was like a stop in time, reset, and start again. So I have some positive moments from this time. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, really, really nice. There was one question that was, doesn't matter, but yeah, really nice time and experience to, or I think you probably benefit from your German experience now that you're coaching American players. Or are they asking you about, hey, how it is in Germany, how is the style of play, or can you bring some like German attitude into your coaching style in Canada?
Well, it's funny because in the team I play with, the regional league team, I'm one of the older guys, so they know me as the German. Because there's another guy also, Caleb Clark. He played for FC Augsburg, second team. He also played in the third league, I believe. So it's just me and him. So they're not asking us a ton of questions all the time, but you can tell that there's a certain respect and understanding. And I'm telling you, I didn't play higher than Regionalliga, but I think people in Germany have a respect for the top four divisions, but I think sometimes outside of Europe, they may not see that. But so far with the team I'm playing with, they're really complimentary and stuff like that. With the younger kids, they all think I played for FC Bayern Munich. So, you know, that's the funny part. But the young guys, they're really open. Like, I will say I coach, I want to say, very similar to the German style. You know, I'm hard, I'm firm, but, you know, I think if you remember Patrick Zander, our coach in Koblenz, I know sometimes players may have had issues with him or not, but I liked the way he coached. I thought it was hard coaching, and he was fair. Sometimes his tactics may have not been the best decisions for some of our games, but I liked his coaching style. And he's someone that I looked up to a lot. And also Chippy, a friend of ours, you know. So I would say I brought a lot of that over here. One thing the German coach told me when I did my UEFA license, he said Germany is one of the best countries for soccer and football to learn, but he's like, we don't know everything, so keep your mind open. So I thought that was really cool coming from a German evaluator, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, there's probably so much to learn from the American style of play that would benefit Germans as well. So
Exactly. There's always
for
something.
sure.
You saw Jürgen Klinsmann in 2006. You know, I don't think he was the best coach for Germany. It was seen pretty quickly, but he brought a sports science methodology to Bayern and Germany, which now you see has, you know, benefited the national team and the country overall. So,
Amazing. So many great stories, so much, wisdom in your experiences. And at the end, like, I have 5 questions or 5 sentences that you can just close off. I already translated them, so I just say that maybe. Oh, we could do it in English and in German if you'd like to.
sure.
So we're gonna start in German and we're gonna end in German.
Okay.
So we're gonna start in English. Football is.
Football is life.
Okay. My best experience was.
My best experience was making my debut for TuS Koblenz in the Regionalliga.
Nice. I'm a fan or supporter of.
When I moved to Germany, I want to say I've been a neutral fan, but I lived in Cologne so long, so I'm a fan of FC Köln and Fortuna Köln. Fortuna is going to hate me saying that, but I like FC too.
Okay, mental strength means to me.
Yeah, mental strength means to me acknowledging weakness and finding ways to improve it. Mental strength is not always just being strong. Recognizing weakness is strength in its own right. And I think, yeah, 100%.
I love it. I love this answer. Football will develop in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, football will develop in the next 5 to 10 years in a way that I hope improves the quality of the women's game worldwide. I think parity is important, I also hope football in 5 to 10 years will no longer be a political tool. That's more of like a social commentary, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, really, really good answer. So you want to do it in German as well?
Sure, let's do it. I'll see if I get the same answers.
Okay, let's do it. So I don't need to open it in German. Here we go. Fußball ist?
Ja, Fußball ist Leben, ja.
That was easy. Mein schönstes Erlebnis im Fußball war?
Ja, mein schönstes Erlebnis im Fußball war auf jeden Fall mein Debüt für FC Köln, für TuS Koblenz in der Regionalliga. Das war wirklich nach 5, 6 Monaten harte Arbeit mit Peter Auer. So, ja.
Ja, richtig gut. Und auch, ich meine, da wo du hergekommen bist, dann dein Spiel in der 4. Liga zu machen.
Ja, genau.
Ja, ich bin Fan von.
Ja, ich bin Fan vom FC Köln und auch mein ehemaliger Verein Fortuna Köln.
Und mentale Stärke bedeutet für mich?
Ja, vielleicht, also ich habe auf Englisch gesagt, aber mentale Stärke, das heißt auch diese Schwäche zu erkennen und zum Verbessern oder verarbeiten, sage ich mal so.
Ja, richtig, richtig gut. Und Fußball wird in den nächsten 5 bis 10 Jahren?
Ja, wie gesagt, ich hoffe, die Frauenfußball wird auf ein so ebenen Niveau, vielleicht von, Zuschauer, von Zahlung her. Und ich hoffe, dass, ich weiß nicht, wie man sagt, dass Fußball wird in 5 bis 10 Jahren nicht mehr ein so politische Tool, I don't know.
Ja, so ein Werkzeug. So.
Ja, genau, politische Werkzeuge oder sowas.
Ja, mehr Menschlichkeit in Fußball auf jeden Fall.
Ja, genau. Da ist so viel Geld drin. Und du hast jetzt zum Beispiel mit Newcastle, the Saudi Arabian Investor, und das ist auch so politisch auch ein bisschen unsicher. It's too much.
Ja, deshalb wichtig, dass Menschen wie du da im Fußball die jungen Spieler gut prägen, sage ich mal, und coachen, aber das macht er. Ja,
das ist halt auch nicht Football Skills, auch Character Development. Wie werden die Menschen auch entwickeln, das ist auch wichtig.
Ja, das ist auch mein Ansatz. Ich sage auch mal, entwickel dich als Mensch weiter, du wirst auch auf dem Platz Entwicklung spüren, das ist das Wichtigste. Ja, richtig gut. Ja, vielen, vielen Dank für deine Zeit, für deine Impulse, war richtig spannend, weil die Perspektive hatten wir noch gar nicht so. Der Vergleich Deutschland, Nordamerika. Deshalb vielen, vielen Dank. Freue mich, dass wir immer noch in Kontakt sind. Und falls du irgendwann mal wieder in Deutschland bist oder ich in Kanada, müssen wir uns auf jeden Fall nochmal treffen.
Auf jeden Fall. Ich war im April da, aber ich war leider im Osten auf dem Fußballkurs im Sachsen-Anhalt. So, ich war ein bisschen weit weg.
Okay. Nächstes Mal schaffen wir es vielleicht.
Auf jeden Fall.
Alles klar, vielen Dank, Darius.
Gerne.
Hat mich gefreut auch.
Ich auch.
Gute Zeit.
Ciao.
Mach's gut. Ciao, ciao.